Alright everybody, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of walk through how the final process of making the flooring happens. I actually use, this machine is a WoodMizer. This is an old model. This is a 4020 X5 as you can see. This is a 5-head molder, which means it has 5 different cutting heads. This is how it originally came right here, and some of the more modern molders have added a few things that I took and added myself with the help of a friend. These are all, now every motor on the cutting system has an amp gauge on it, so I can see if I'm cutting too much on a single head, or I can actually watch if knives start to get dull. I can actually watch a change in the amperage on these 5 right here. On the next set you see 3 pressure regulators, which are right here, and those actually run a series of zones, if you want to call it, in that different sections you require different pressures to either help push your wood through or to not mark it beyond what you're cutting at the next station. But let me walk through this. So similar to a jointer, we have an in-feed bed and we have an in-feed fence. So your material will generally always go flat on this. Here's my lineal footage counter, which obviously you can see I got off eBay and then I rigged it up and mounted it. So here is the first zone of feed rolls right here. These help push the wood into the jointing head, which is on the bottom, and as you can see I have a spiral cutter head on here. That's a Titan 6 wing. We just got 6 sets of cutting edges on it. You can see multiple rows make a very nice bottom cut. So that is actually the jointing or the bottom face. And then once it goes past that, this starts the second zone right here. And this zone is actually connected this one, and then here's 2 more. So these 3 are all one more zone, and you can see these all have got serrated rollers on them, and that helps grip the wood and push it through. So in this zone we have our first right cutter head, which you can see right now. This actually, it's hard to see it, but what that does in this case, that is going to cut, that's a horrible piece. See the tongue? So that cutter head actually cuts that edge. Now that edge, I'm actually removing 1/8 of an inch off that edge. So you can see the piece of wood's 1/8 of an inch away from the fence. So if this was to come in, I'm going to remove 1/8 of an inch of material off that edge. And then I'll ride here once that I'm cut. Now these heads adjust. This one, there's a counter on that one, right there. So this one can be raised and lowered this way, and it can be adjusted by a means of a bolt in and out this way. This cutter head can be adjusted up this way, and it can be moved in and out by these 2 counters here. Now these counters, if you look, this counter is 000, and then the red is 0.60, and then there's a 3rd digit which is just in the lineal, like a bunch of lines. So if I turn this, you can see the little lines moving around. And then here I've got another one set. So these numbers all represent something dimensionally on this machine. So here is my next cutter head. So we've got the right cutter head, and move forward, and here is the left cutter head, and I can actually pull this one off. I haven't tightened it down yet. So here you can see that is actually the groove cutter, and these are both 3-wing with insert tip. Okay, the insert tip is a necessity with a lot of the material I run, which is a lot of barn wood. And so that barn wood is really nasty stuff. So basically everything that I use that touches barn wood is all carbide. So again, these numbers, now this counter actually is an upgrade from these. These are mechanical digital readouts. This is actually a digital readout. So these generally only go 3 positions. So like here you can see it's 0.600, and this one actually is like it's 4 digits out, which, just to let you know, 0.003 is a sheet of paper, and so that one reads 4 digits, so you could measure differences between sheets of paper, which no, I'm not going to do it. So this was just one I had to replace. I upgraded it. It's very accurate. I generally can dial stuff in within, 1 to 2 1/1000ths of an inch in its width with that, which in woodworking, I measure it by a caliper, and most people are like, that's way too accurate, you don't need to do that. And I'm like, okay, well, in this case, yes, I do. So there is so you've got first, second, third cutter heads. Here is the fourth cutter head, which currently I'm going to slide out. This is a top cutter head. Oh, by the way, brands, like I said, that first one is a Titan spiral. The 2 side heads are actually from Byrd tool. This head right here, which I'm going to pull out, this is from Charles GG Schmidt. If I can get it off. This one is a 4-wing insert tool with an auxiliary set that these are actually what cut the bottom of the flooring. So in this case, let me grab this piece. So if you see these little back relief, those back reliefs get cut by those. So these actually will act as a thicknessing, and in these I can add, and if you notice, these are screwed in just by a set screw, and I can just pop them out. And I can change that from, say, a round bottom backout like this flooring to doing like a case or a base backout. Again, these are all carbide because I do a lot of barn wood. But here you can see this shaft has got quite a bit of room on it. That's my max diameter of cutter I can swing without hitting the machine or the bed or this pressure shoe right here or these in-feed chip breaker shoes. So knowing your machine, big thing. Okay, so we'll move back down the machine. So like I said, this head here will thickness it this way. This last head is on the bottom again, and that will take off whatever you set for it. In this case, I've only got it set for 6/1000ths because I do a lot of skip planed flooring where it's just a little bit knocked off, and that is perfect for that. And then here are the outfeed that help push the material out the final bit of the machine. So again, so you've got bottom, right, left, top, and then a final bottom. With that capacity, there's not too much that you can't run. Obviously, there's some really specialty stuff that you can come up with that this machine won't do, like curves. This won't do curves. I have another machine that I'd use to do my curves. Obviously, you can see I've done some modifications. The old sound foam on there was absolutely in horrible shape when I got this machine. Great stuff, spray foam, awesome thing for doing that. I'll back up a little bit so you can get a whole view of the machine. Not the tiniest machine. It's about 10 feet long, just over 6 feet high to where I've got that top of that control panel right there. It's about 5 feet deep. So from right here, and if we kind of look past my scrap cart here, you'll see it's about 5 feet or so. So not a very small machine. Generally, these are fairly expensive machines. I bought this on auction, and actually I do a lot of my machines either on auction or used or whatever, and I have friends that can fix them and help fix them, because actually the military taught me how to fix stuff, and it's been very, very useful. So I will go ahead and finish setting this up, and we'll run some flooring.